record this. All right. Try not to be nervous.
Two
Big deal,
Gomers
but
podcast.
we'll be fine.
Total. That's all good.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, click. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. Actually, it was pretty normal.
Yeah. You're listening to the Two Gomers podcast, a show about two regular guys in their 40s chasing healthy aging and inviting a nation along for the ride. This is the premiere episode, 100 Days Dry, for the last week of April 2023.
Welcome, everybody, to the Two Gomers podcast. This is Anthony speaking, one of those two aforementioned Gomers, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, with my friend Steven, all the way out in Flagstaff, Arizona.
As I was saying, premiere,
Mm-hmm.
what is this, like the 8th premiere episode we've had in the history of this podcast?
Oh, yeah. Episode 1,000 or something. I don't know.
Well, so I was thinking of a different word, which is remere, not premiere,
Ooh.
but like a requel. You know, that we were talking
Sure.
about that, I think, in our Top Gun Maverick episode on the Patreon,
Yep.
where that's like not a sequel, but it's either a legacy sequel or a requel.
Right.
And so I don't think I've heard remere before instead of premiere. But that is what it feels like. This isn't a new podcast.
No, this is nothing new. It's same Gomers, but we're just we're trying to embrace who we are
Mm-hmm.
in this next stage of our lives.
Yep.
As of when this comes out, I'll be 44. That's tomorrow.
Happy birthday to 44. What do you think about that number?
Dang.
Remember, I was telling you what my kids thought about 44 when I turned 44. They did not like it.
Oh, yeah, because they don't like certain numbers. Was it that thing, or they didn't like
that? It's that thing where they're like,
yeah.
no, that's not good.
No.
But I had a great 44.
Yeah. I was 29 when this podcast started.
So to a certain extent, we aren't the same old Gomers, but we are
actually
in a lot of ways. I don't know.
It's a good point. Now, actually, I found this note, dude, on my phone.
Okay.
I was scrolling through looking for something, and it says, me at 44.
Okay.
Like, it must have been, like, one of those times where I was, having, like, a quiet time or out on a walk, and I was like, okay, I need to, like, think about what it would be like.
Uh-huh.
And it looks like I was doing some vision casting. I've got some Ruth Haley Barton quotes. I've got some Dallas Willard quotes. But the very top of it says my birth date, 4/15/2023, which is tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
As we're recording.
Yep.
And I have, what will you accomplish?
And
it's strike through. It's crossed out.
Wow.
And then it says, who will you become? Or no, it says,
wow.
Who will you work to become?
Okay. Interesting.
So I don't know if I was listening to a sermon and I'm just talking to my phone, but dude,
doesn't that note have a date stamp on it? Like, when did you write it?
Well, so I sent it to myself. Like I edited it on the bottom so that it would like go to the top. So you're right. I mean, it can't be more than 6 months old.
Okay. All right. So this isn't something you wrote when you were like 35. This is something
No. This is within the last few months.
Okay, interesting.
But it was, yeah. So I don't know that. So the 44 thing, as I was scrolling through, I see that, and then this just triggered me to look at that. But that's what I want to. I'm just thinking about my birthday, right? Like you always, those days, the New Year's, the birthdays, the anniversaries, the premiere episode of a podcast. I actually think that frames what we want to be, which is not what do we want to do, but who do we want to become, or who are you gonna work to become, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. And it is this whole thing feels like strangely prescient timing. I was just thinking this past week, that it's weird that we're re-mirroring our podcast and refocusing it instead of
Mm-hmm.
on running, but healthy aging the day before your birthday. We're recording the premiere episode.
Uh-huh. That was not on
Um,
purpose, but wow.
no, not at all. And neither was it on purpose that we did Star Trek 2, The Wrathacon on Perfect Movie on the Patreon, which is all about aging and getting
Yep.
old.
Yep.
So so it just seems like a lot of things are falling into place. So if you didn't hear the State of the Podcast episode on the main feed that we just released a couple weeks ago, you should probably go back and listen to that because this is a newly named, new art. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
New focus podcast.
Yep.
The name isn't going to surprise anybody, Two Gomers Podcast, because I would say most of our listeners have wanted us to make that change for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Just call it what it is. The focus of it, which is our relationship and our health journeys.
Yep.
But we landed specifically on we are ready to stop denying the fact that we're in middle age and midlife.
Mm-hmm.
Start embracing that and getting as healthy as we can in this time of our lives.
So does that mean that if you're not middle age or older, you can't listen to us, or does that mean you can still listen to us?
Heavens no. And this is in fact, we're purposefully all ages, right? Like,
Yes.
dang it, we just got an email from I think his name was Jason, where
Yeah. Oh yeah.
his closing sentiment was, "It's nice to listen to a clean podcast once in a while."
Mm. Yep.
And we always have been. We've never had that explicit next to.
No.
We can skirt the boundaries. We're an 80s PG. Isn't that what we
Yeah.
said?
Yeah. There's not going to be swearing on this.
No.
I mean yeah, for sure. But you don't have to be middle aged to listen to this podcast. For
Uh-uh.
me, like, dude, my favorite podcasts lately are like 60-year-old dudes slowing down in their life. Like, I just listened to John
Cool.
Ortberg, man,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, man, like it's just so relaxing.
Yep.
Like I'm like, I think about Tron Guy. That's kind of our focus. We don't want to be Tron Bod. We want to be Tron Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Long obedience in the same direction.
Yep. It's just like anybody can listen. I think that to your point that you like listening to people that are older than you, I
Yeah.
think that there is a community. Listen, millennials,
Mm.
zillennials,
Yep.
Gen Z, iGen,
Huh.
all are welcome. Even boomers. If you're older than us,
Sure.
you can listen and remember, what it was like to be that spry age of 44, 45.
I know they're like 44. Are you kidding me, dude? It's like I remember that time
Yep.
when I was a young 44. So and 45. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe here I had something happen to me today
Okay.
that made me think of this whole aging thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, I used to be in this orchestra, it's called the New World Symphony down in Miami,
Right.
and it's an incredible orchestra. You can be in it for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and after that point, you have to go on. But most times, people like win jobs from there. It's
Yep.
called America's Orchestral Academy. Okay, the
Mhm.
conductor of that orchestra is conducting us here in Atlanta this week.
Guest conductor has come in to conduct you.
Yes.
Yep.
And we had a gathering of all the New World alums that are in the Atlanta Symphony, because that's one of the cool things is New World is, I don't know, at least 30 years old at this point.
Okay.
And there are alumni in all the major orchestras in the country.
It's like a
lots around
sending
the
hub,
world.
right? That place.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So we all gathered together. I
Mhm.
think there were at least 10 of us to take a picture and chat a little bit.
Yeah.
And we were all looking around, and he was like, "So when did people play in this orchestra?"
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, 22, like the most recent one left in 2022.
Okay.
He's the newest member of our orchestra. And then I'm like picturing him sort of like he's the new music director. The guy that I was there, he has since left.
Okay.
Or like retired. So I've never met this conductor before. So he's looking at all of us, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to think when he looks at me, this is very like self-referential. Like I'm just thinking about myself here, right? but he's like,
I know exactly what you mean though. How old is he gonna think I am? Or when was I in the
yes,
orchestra? Yeah.
yeah. So he's looking at 10 faces
Yeah.
with instruments,
Mm-hmm.
professional musicians.
Yep.
And like I would love to know like what he thought. He was like, so who was the most recent? And it's like blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then who was the longest? And then
Yeah.
he's looking at everybody. And then he's like, so when were you? When were you? And I was like, 2006. That's like, but dude, that's like 17 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
And actually, dude, I think it was actually 2005
Okay.
or something like that. Like, and I was like kind of like erring towards the like, oh, not that long ago. Like
Mm-hmm.
that thing in my, this is just being like real honest, was
Yeah.
like, I'm not that old, dude. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that that matches up with what I was saying, which is I think that the temptation for aging people
Mm,
is to deny that, push that aside. And then what happens is you don't actually age well
hmm.
because you don't want to
Yep.
be the age you are. And so then you're not present, you're not who you're supposed to be. And so we are
Yeah.
trying to embrace that and change that by moving into this new arena. Can I just,
Yes.
what we were talking about, like, what is this new podcast about? This is an email that we got from listener Jen. I would pronounce your last name, Jen, Schmöger,
Okay.
SCHM umlaut
Yep.
OGEROE,
Schmurger.
but I
Yep.
bet it's pronounced Schmager
Okay. Yeah.
or Schmoger. Anyways, Jen, this was before our State of the Podcast app came out.
Okay.
She wrote, I know you may take a different direction with the podcast as you move forward, and my pitch is to talk about aging gracefully and how we can incorporate health in different ways that work for aging bodies and minds.
Hmm. Yeah.
This is like, you're a prophet, Jen.
When we got that, it's like you're reading you're
Mm-hmm.
reading our mail while
We're
sending
reading
us
yours. Yep.
sending us mail. We're
Yeah.
reading
And so
yours.
we obviously this has for 14 years been a podcast. Mostly the hook has been running. Not always. We had the Lose 20 and 20 season, right? But we've
Yep.
always kind of come back to that. And now we're making a significant move into more general body, mind, spirit, emotional health as
Yep.
we age. Um, and so that's what you're listening to right now. Listeners, old and new, we're assuming mostly old,
Yep. Old meaning been with us for a long time.
and
Not old
probably also
old
meaning old,
and also wait, but
which is
old
part of what we talked about last week. We're embracing that maybe we aren't the newest cool thing anymore.
sure. Okay, that was good. Now I see
Yeah.
it.
Okay, but it's so actually thematically, some of the things that are happening that you're going to hear in this podcast is everything old is new again, but there's nothing new under the sun. So we are still two Gomers. Gonna run a half marathon. We actually should maybe think,
Marathon here. We'll
think of a
probably still
jingle.
do. We'll still do that stuff.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still hoping to do the Atlanta half
Mm-hmm.
if I'm actually in town this year and don't have a calf injury and don't have plantar fasciitis. But dude, so far it's going pretty good. But we're not even talking about that.
After that long list of qualifiers, it's still going good. We have physical challenges, not
Yep.
Survivor style, but like we want to go rim to rim. We want to hike up a mountain. We want to go to do the Camino, stuff like that.
Yes.
Those have not gone away. We have physical health goals that we have, and we're going to talk a lot about that. But we're broadening it a little bit, right?
Yep.
We're trying to grow into midlife and beyond healthy. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to go back to something we used to do on the podcast, which is segments.
Yes.
More segments.
We love segments. If you have any segment ideas, send them our way.
Right.
Email us twogomers@gmail.com. We want segment ideas, but we
And
have
if you
some
hear
staples, right?
Yep. Yeah. So the segments that we're gonna start today, if those tickle your fancy and you
Mhm.
feel like you want to contribute to them, we also want you to know. You should send us an email to gomers@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram at twogomers. So what's gonna happen this episode? The premiere episode of Two Gomers podcast. We're gonna start with our new opening segment, baby step of the week. Tell you about that in a little bit. Then we're going to go to kind of the main section, which we're still looking for a name for.
Right.
The main course, where we're going to choose a topic and flesh it out a little bit more. Then our new closing segment is called What's Giving Us Life This Week.
Yep.
Sort of a reincarnation of Songs to Run To.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
A spiritual child of Songs to Run To, where we talk about something that is actually bringing us life. We'll talk more about that later. And then we're going to close and talk about, at the end of this episode, what we're actually going to say at the close of each episode, which we didn't decide last week yet.
Yep.
It
That was
used
the
to be
cold
happy,
open
right?
of last week.
We used to say happy running. I think
Yep.
we're going to talk at the end of this episode if we're going to continue to do that.
Okay.
And of course, a ton of fun stuff along the way. So, up first here on the Two Gomers podcast, we have big goals, but we've learned over the past 14 years that reaching them starts small. And even though we're taking strides toward healthy aging, we know that happens one baby step at a time. So this is baby step of the week. Right.
Sweet, dude. Okay, I'll go into the jingle there.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Do we want to clap?
Yeah. Let's clap. Okay. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. By the way, I wasn't laughing on purpose because I thought it was super funny. But like
you wanted to give some dead air.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, let's not crack here.
Okay, yeah, let's crack at the
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Yep.
So do you just want to come in?
Sure. Okay, yep.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Bob, for that. This is
Bob?
The baby step of the week. Bob, do you remember Bob's last name?
Oh, he does have a last name, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Okay, we'll have to remember that for next time.
Do you remember what's Dreyfus's name in that movie?
Leo Marvin. Dr.
Leo Marvin. Baby Steps by Dr. Leo Marvin. Just like Dr. Leo Marvin, we know that we can't get there all at once. You can't just come out of your apartment after so many years secluded and just be completely fine. You have to go baby steps. And so we were talking about segments, and we thought it might be helpful before we get to the main section to every week, one of us or both of us talk about a small success that we've had toward healthy aging.
I love it. Small success or a small habit, right? A micro habit, a tiny habit, maybe an atomic habit.
A choice we made that we're proud of, and it purposefully won't be big, I think. That's kind of the conceit of this section.
Yes. It's a baby step.
Right. And I'm hoping that it's encouraging for people to know that we can celebrate really small things.
Totally.
And like I said, like if you are going through the week, listener, and you're like, that was an incredible baby step, and I wish I was one of the Gomers so I could talk about it on the podcast, email us.
Send us your baby steps.
Or call us on the Gomer phone. That number is
608-622-7669. That's 608 NBA Pony.
He wasn't even looking at his notes, folks. He's got that in his brain. Well, that shouldn't be so impressive, but it is nowadays.
That's a baby step. I know, because our memory, right? Like my word for the year is remember. I do have a scripture memorized. I have multiple scriptures memorized that I'll keep. So I've been keeping to that.
Sweet.
And it's been helping jog my memory even when I'm not jogging.
Well, there you go. Do you want to? I have a baby step. Do you have a baby step? I don't think we're always going to both share one.
Yeah, but
now I say that, I think that both of us will always want to.
I know. I mean, when I had to come up with a few today that I've done for the last few weeks, I was like, how do I pick one? Because we're all about baby steps, dude.
I've started a note. Speaking of notes, now this is something you've gotten me into is notes on my phone.
So do you use the note function on your phone more often now?
Yeah, but guess what?
What?
We'll talk about this in the next episode about zeroing out your inbox, but I almost never use it on my phone. I use it on my
Oh,
laptop, my
okay, yeah.
desktop computer.
That's another huge difference between Gomer 1 and Gomer 2 is I do 99 everything non-podcast related. I would probably do our taxes on my phone if I could. We had to get
Wow.
out the laptop for that.
If I could, I would destroy my phone and never. I can't. My thumbs. I can't
Sure.
type,
Huh. Maybe
and
it's
I
because I
don't. I
play
also.
bassoon, dude.
Wow, yeah, your gifted fingers.
It's like all thumbs.
A campus minister does not have as gifted fingers as a bassoonist does.
Right.
Um, okay, so I've been also just the past week since we decided on this segment, jotting
Mhm.
baby steps down, and I've got a list of 20 already. How am I supposed to friggin'
Wow.
pick? It's been
Well,
really life giving.
okay, good. See, I had two that I have been doing
Uh-huh.
consistently.
Okay. I love that.
And so, but I was like, how do I pick between those two?
Okay. Have you chosen between the two?
Sure.
Do you want to start?
Sure. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Wow, this is hard. I was gonna play off of yours. Dang it. Okay. See, here's my problem. It is a
Yeah.
baby step and it's not a baby step. The baby step was I was I have we're gonna talk about in aging. You're probably gonna talk about your relationship to your phone
Mm-hmm.
and talk about your relationship to social media.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what social media is it entertainment, is it communication, is it connection, or
Is it infotainment?
is it infotainment? Are you ambient television watching, scrolling the infinity pool?
Swimming in that
What's
infinity pool? Yeah.
Yeah, like what's that doing to your brain? What is the point? You're comparing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're wishing you were, you had that cool house. You're wishing you had that cool car, or like were at that thing, or had that cool food, or
If you're not actually arguing with someone, you're thinking about arguing with them.
oh yeah,
It's
yep, oh yes,
it's hard. Social media is hard. It sucks.
yes. So I was on my phone, and there's something triggered my mind that was like, this is once again.
Mm.
I need to remember, right? That's my word for the year. Remember. I
Mm-hmm.
need to remember that when I want to relax or when I want to decompress, that going to social media isn't going to help that. But
No.
yet, I do.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You're in the grocery line,
Mm-hmm.
you're you've got 10 minutes, you're waiting for something. Isn't there something you could do better with that time? And I'm not saying avoid it completely or anything like that, but I remembered that and I texted you
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, bro, I just deleted Instagram off my phone. It was
Yep.
a baby step because all it takes is your baby thumb, press and hold. I mean, maybe somebody needs to take the baby step of just turning your phone off for an hour or
Yeah.
10 minutes or even walking out of, like, leaving it in another room.
Right.
But for me, the baby step was, at least for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to press and hold that. There was nothing dramatic. It's just like,
You
because I
press
have
and
already
hold it
limited
until
it.
it starts like shaking around,
Well,
jiggling
I mean, there
around.
wasn't like a dramatic inciting incident. It was just like, I'm
Right.
just sick of this.
Yep. And so that little app starts jiggling around, and then it
Yep.
says delete this app, and it's in red on your
Uh-huh.
phone, and you just click that delete this app.
Yep. So that was the baby step. I
Wow.
deleted that, and it feels really good. We've
Mm-hmm.
done this probably a dozen times. We've done it for Lent. We've done it
Yep.
for things like that. But this week has been, it's just been more freeing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
When you
it's a,
texted me that, I said it feels so good, doesn't it? Because
yes.
I for Lent, I was taking, I deleted Instagram off my phone during the week,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
I reinstalled it, which is really easy. I mean, all this
It's
is just like,
super easy.
that's why it's a baby step. It's just like pushing for a little longer and then pushing something else.
It's
That's the
it's a
small thing you're doing.
it's a baby step, and I would say because it's slightly more annoying than setting the timer on it, which I've already done that, and then you can just
Mm-hmm.
click ignore easily.
Right.
1 more
Yep.
minute, 15 more minutes. Ignore for
Ignore.
today. Ignore. So delete it. I
Mm-hmm.
would say I guess I want to challenge people to just try it.
Yeah.
Just try it for a day
Mm-hmm.
or put a time limit on it, anything like that. Just I would love people to just assess how much you're on it,
Yep.
how it's forming you,
Mm-hmm.
like how it's forming your brain,
Yep.
what that scrolling is doing, that
Mm-hmm.
that that slot machine designed, hopefully you're going to win something,
Yep.
dopamine factory.
Mm-hmm.
Just delete that crap for a little while.
Just delete
See what
that.
happens.
Just delete that
Baby
crap. Good.
steps.
Love that baby step. All right. Mine has to do with the fact that it was just Easter
Mm-hmm.
last Sunday. And because of that, we have, I don't even know how this works, so many jelly beans
Mm,
in our house right now.
yeah,
I guess I just always buy too many jelly beans in particular.
sure.
So I went out and on the counter in the kitchen is a full glass bowl of jelly beans, Starburst jelly beans. Those are good.
Those are good. Those are good.
And so they're good, but the sugar content, it's just sugar. I mean, there's nothing else, right? Maybe gelatin
Yeah, it's
in a
not like there's
Starburst jelly
fiber
bean.
in that,
No.
right? It's not like there's vitamins in that.
Right. Um, so I know that if I were to take one, it would become a handful and then it would become multiple handfuls.
Mm-hmm.
And so the kind of tiny habit there is the one jelly bean. So I wish I could tell you that it wasn't as big of a battle. That's why baby step is a hard term because it felt big.
Yep.
But I did not eat the jelly beans. And again, we're going to be talking a lot about food for the next several
Yep.
years. I'm
Yep.
trying to mindfully eat and have a healthy relationship with when I can eat and when I don't and how I feel about that. I know that 8 handfuls of jelly beans, which it would have become,
Yep.
makes me feel horrible in my body.
Yep. Not talking about losing weight.
Nope,
You're not talking about any of that.
I'm
You're
not.
like, you feel like a dump truck after you have that much sugar.
It hurts my teeth, which hurts my head. It hurts
Mm-hmm.
my stomach, which makes me fart. It does not help me sleep because I'm hopped up on sugar and I crash.
Yep.
But when you're
Yeah.
faced with the jelly bean, you don't think about any of that. So my
Yeah.
baby step was I ate a pickle instead.
Yeah, that's a weird swap, dude. That
I
is,
know.
I mean, but I mean, I get it. I mean, a pickle definitely assassinates the mouth with flavor. That vinegar,
I think that's
sure,
it. I needed
I get
something
it.
that tasted a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so there was a bowl of apples next to it. And I like apples, but I was like,
yeah,
that intensity of flavor is not going to combat the jelly bean. And so I
yeah,
need to blast myself with flavor.
sure,
And
sure.
a pickle does that. So I ate 4 pickles, baby steps, baby
Nice.
pickles,
Uh-huh.
and didn't eat any of the jelly beans. Have I not eaten any jelly beans? No. But that, for some reason, made the note, the note app on my phone in that moment because I was like, I ate 4 pickles instead of, I'm not kidding, 8 to 10 handfuls it would have become of
Yeah,
jelly beans. And that felt like a very small success that I want to remember and hold on to.
it's a good baby step, dude.
All right. We want to hear, we're serious, nation. If you have baby steps that strike you, this would fit perfectly in this segment on the new Two Gomers podcast. We want to hear from you. All right. Let's head to the main unnamed section of our podcast.
All right, dry 100.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay,
Sweet.
I'll crack this. You're eating your apple.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know how you could eat anything during a podcast. That would be.
Here, should we clap?
What's that?
Should we clap?
Oh yeah, sure. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. All right. Hold on. Let me just. Hold on. All right. Hey, how's it going over there in the main course or whatever the heck you're going to call this section?
Mm.
Oh, cheers, mate. This LaCroix is so good.
Main course, I think, is something that we're kind of circling around
Yep.
for this section. I think what we were talking about on a private phone call. No one's ever going to hear this.
Never. Impossible to record.
Is that if we were a food podcast, that would be genius. That the main section of
Yep.
our podcast was called the main course. But we're
Yep.
going to be talking a lot about food and health, so maybe it works. Listener, if you have an idea of what this should be called, the center section, the meat we were talking about too, but again,
Yep. It's food
that would
still.
work if it was a food podcast.
Yeah.
The mid
I mean, main
life, no.
midsection?
Okay.
Here's the midsection, the biggest part of the podcast.
I just took a bite of apple and had to spit it out because I was so impressed by that one. The midsection. I don't mind that. All right, this could be the midsection. Speaking of aging. Okay, I think we just stumbled into it. In the midsection, we're going to be talking around a specific topic, either in our own lives or a suggested topic around healthy aging. Some of them will be uber practical. Next week or next time, we're talking about the health benefits of zeroing out your inbox.
Oh, baby. Yeah.
Sometimes they'll be a lot bigger than that, talking about facing depression or becoming a non-anxious presence, or
Yeah.
sometimes we'll talk about peeing clear. You know, these are all parts of aging, and we're going to talk about them here in the midsection.
Yep. Okay, so for the first one, we thought we'd do a review of something that I think a big part of midlife. I mean, we talked about social media. Right. I think your relationship with alcohol is a big part, not a big part, but it's a significant part of a lot of people's midlife.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's college, there's the way you treat it then. Then there's like the single scene or the married without kids scene or the married with little kids scene. And then there's the midlife where it's like maybe some acedia is setting in, maybe some depression setting in. You're like, like, I need a beer.
Yeah,
you know
dissatisfaction with life, despondency, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, by the way, I'm just thinking again how prescient this timing is, because we're recording this episode right when we can review the fact that you did 100 days dry. Like, that also lines up so interestingly when we're moving into something new. And so what happened was, out of this kind of you taking stock of your relationship with alcohol, you decided to do something significant right on January 1st, right?
Yep. Just rip the Band-Aid off. That was a baby step that became a bigger step, but I guess the baby step is just don't do that for a little while.
The decision itself.
The decision, it's always a tiny decision that you just need to keep making over and over and over again, right?
Yeah. Yep. So the decision was 100. So that feels like a big decision. 100 days.
Yeah. So a lot of people do this thing, and okay, two things right off the bat. We are not prudes and gonna say don't drink, it's bad. Okay, that's not where we're going with this.
Right.
Second, I am not bragging here. Okay, it's just something that I tried to do. I don't think I'm all that in a bag of chips or anything like that. Okay,
you're aging yourself there by using the idiom "I'm all that in a bag of chips."
Dude, that's why I think people that were born in the late 70s and
Uh-huh.
80s, you're going to get our pop culture references. You're going to get our idioms
Yep. Our
and our
turns of phrase,
axioms.
our sayings, our axioms.
You're going to like our Midwestern accents.
Yep.
Um,
It's part of the
but
draw.
yeah. Um, but I just wanted to do something significant to look at it, to be
Right.
like, is this a problem or is this not a problem? I was looking forward to it a little bit too much, and
Mm-hmm.
I was drinking a little bit too often for what I felt was good. It wasn't abusive, it wasn't crazy or anything, how you define any of those things, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to analyze it
Mm-hmm.
and recalibrate. So we're in the re-mirror. This is a recalibration.
Yeah. Um,
And
go-
yeah, sorry. And I remember, and I said this in the podcast back in January. I remember this sermon where the preacher was talking about, if you can't not do something for 30 days, you probably have to eat within 30 days. Okay.
right.
But if you can't not have a drink for 30 days, maybe you should look into that.
Yep.
Like
That's something you
maybe,
should pay attention to.
yeah, maybe you've grown too dependent on it.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, maybe it's not healthy. I mean, back in the old days, Bible times, they were having wine every day, right?
Oh man.
What the
They're-
fermented drink isn't. I mean, wasn't even water not healthy? That's like
Oh,
all you had.
oh sure, I've heard that like it was way safer to drink a juice or a
Yeah,
wine than water because you'd get less sick.
a fermented drink.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh huh. And it's part of communion.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Oh yeah.
so I'm not gonna
Encouraged.
be. Yeah, exactly. So, but what I engaged in was the practice of abstaining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so there are some things that you do and there are some things that you don't do. So this was abstaining. I'm abstaining from social media.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just like not doing stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Put that as our log line.
yeah, like, or depriving myself of stuff. Like I remember Kramer when he like did no, like only fresh fruits and veggies.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Um. But anyways, kind of what I discovered, and actually a friend of mine that was keeping me accountable, and you're my main friend that's keeping me accountable.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, don't
Yes.
worry.
I know. I'm not worried.
Um, maybe that was for the listener. Um,
I did see the Chad post something yesterday about one of his best friends coming over, and one of our listeners commented on his post on Facebook. You have other friends besides the Gomers?
that's amazing. The
Yeah.
Chad, what are you
Yep.
doing, dude? Um. Anyway, so can I read what I said?
Sure.
Okay, so he texted me. How does it feel? I
How do you feel?
completed the 100. How do you feel? Completed. I said, truth is, I rarely think about it.
Mm.
So when I do, I ask myself, why do I want to drink right now?
Mm-hmm.
And this is true. So I'm reading myself, but this is what I said. Pretty much, I found two categories for why I would have a drink, and this actually kind of plays into other earthly appetites, such as fast food.
Sure. Yep.
Is I'm either celebrating or medicating.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And when it comes to alcohol, and this, I'm just trying to be like completely transparent. The medicating thing is just not acceptable and not good.
Okay.
And
You don't
I'm just
that's not where you go.
no, no,
Or
no. I do go there sometimes. I would
oh,
probably
okay.
say 5 to 10% of the time.
Okay.
I'm feeling anxious,
Mm-hmm. I
and
see.
this would not. I would not go into a situation like a concert or
Mm-hmm.
driving or being with. I'm at home
Mm-hmm.
or I'm out and I just feel anxious and I just want to drink.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I'm sure people that are listening can relate to that. Like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
anxious and this will help me not feel that way.
Yep.
There are other things like you're on a Sabbath and we're
Mm-hmm.
going to make an Italian dinner and we're going to open up a bottle of wine and celebrate.
Yep. Or this
Um,
thing that the tradition at your orchestra, which it's like it's bourbon, right? That you guys have
right.
after concerts. That's a celebration.
Yes.
that is actually a very specific kind of alcohol you consume. It's a
Right.
traditional celebration.
Yeah. I mean, probably 100 years orchestra's been doing. I mean, more than that.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
you in Europe you walk off stage and they hand you a beer after
Wow.
your concert. It's just like
Yep.
classic. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you've been playing this concert, you feel great, and
Mm-hmm.
let's I was gonna say break bread, but that's not. Let's clink glasses. Ein Prosit, Um so that's more of like the celebration.
Yeah.
Um and so I guess I've found just in my analyzation of it is like
Yeah.
what is making me want this,
Mm-hmm.
and it basically falls into those two categories. And so part of the 100 days, it was a significant chunk of time.
Yeah.
So I was able to think like, is there a way that I could medicate in a better, healthier way?
I
I
see.
feel really weird saying this, but I, I'm
No,
just
it's
trying to.
it's I think when you are feeling anxious, or I am feeling anxious, where do we go? And taking stock once in a while about where that is and whether it's healthy is
Mhm,
really a good thing to do. But then
mhm,
you have to think, well, if I'm going to take that unhealthy thing out, I will just say that for me, it does fall into more like just binging, just
mm,
eating and eating
ah,
and eating.
sure.
Um, or thought thought life going in different directions that it shouldn't. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm,
one thing I've identified is escape is one of my things. Is I'll
mm,
isolate. And so it's good to
okay.
recognize all those things, but what can I do instead to
Yes.
fill that hole?
Yeah. I don't think that that's a good way to use alcohol,
Mm, right.
and I'm glad I recognized that. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually got this great quote. It's from a Catholic theologian, G.K. Chesterton.
Yep. Great
Is it okay
guy.
if I read that?
Yes, please.
Totally great guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he wrote. There was this. It was like in England, right?
Mm-hmm.
Letter to the editor, and they were saying like, what is wrong with humanity?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is humanity so messed up? And
Yeah.
G.K. Chesterton wrote just a one line. He said, "I'm the problem. Like,
Mm,
we are all the problem."
yeah.
And I just that the humility in that just blew my mind.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Okay, that's deeper than I meant to go. Here's his quote about drinking. Okay,
Okay.
maybe I'll cut that. Uh,
No, I love
he
it.
says he says drink because you are happy, but never because you are miserable. Never
Mm,
drink when you are wretched without it,
mm.
or you will be like the gray-faced gin drinker in the slum. But drink when you would be happy without it, and you will
Ah.
be like the laughing peasant of Italy. That's exactly who I want to be, making that Italian food.
Wow, he nailed you. That's
I know.
exactly who you want to be.
I know. Just like drinking espresso and playing chess.
That is your future goal. Happy
Trying.
peasant in Italy. I love it.
He said, never drink because you need it,
Mm,
for this is rational drinking and the way to death and hell. Okay, that's a little deep, but I'm just quoting
mm-hmm.
him. He said, but drink because you do not need it, for this is irrational drinking and the ancient health of the world.
Wow.
Just an interesting quote.
Yeah. Well, and it
I
also
just like,
it's interesting in that it doesn't say just don't.
mm-hmm,
Which I will say, and we'll probably say this every other episode, if not every episode. We're not doctors. We're not counselors. We don't know every listener that's listening.
right.
You may need to just stop.
100%
And
yes.
if you are addicted to alcohol, we want to encourage you to go get the help that you need.
Yes.
And my experience with that is that usually it's an all or nothing thing for people that have
Yep.
become addicted to something like that. So, but I at the same time I like G.K. Chesterton's quote because he's like pretty insightful about when you should and shouldn't drink.
Yep.
And it would take a lot of inner looking inside to make good decisions about that. And it seems like it would take 100 days or more.
Yeah, for sure. So, just to get real practical, real quick, I'm designing a kind of like a reintegration with you, with
Mm.
Aaron,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of other people that are keeping me accountable on this,
Yeah.
um, to reintroduce with some boundaries, limits, and guardrails. Uh, and I'm developing a rule of life.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just give you three quick ones.
Love it.
Can't drink alone,
Okay.
not drinking on weekdays,
Okay. Dry weekdays.
and dry weekdays. Um, and then a real question that we were talking about around the table with this other family of ours is: would you drink this if it didn't have alcohol in it?
Okay. Give me an example of that because I'm not, I'm a, people that have been listening to this podcast for a long time know I'm a teetotaler. This is not something I struggle with. In fact, I think it's gross. The
Right.
taste of it, you know what I mean? Like, and so
Yeah.
I am very curious because of it is a taste issue for me a lot of the time. Like,
Right.
what do you mean something that you would drink if it doesn't have alcohol in it?
Well, okay,
Beer?
that's no, no, that's exactly my point.
Okay.
Is sometimes people just reach for a drink because of what it's going to do,
Ah,
not because it tastes good. So you're like,
right.
I need a drink. What's here? Just give me whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so like, so a classical example of this is like you're around the pool and everybody's got those White Claws and Trulies and
Mm-hmm.
hard seltzers. I'm
Right.
sorry, I know people
Mostly
like
Gen X, right?
people.
That are
Yeah,
sitting around the
people.
pool.
It's what our parents used to have. Zima. Okay. I'm not gonna throw shade at if that's your favorite thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm more of a beer kind of person. But dude, that stuff tastes terrible. And sometimes you'll just drink it because it's all there's around.
I see. I understand what you mean now. Yeah.
Is what I mean. So
Yep.
like, don't drink that. Like
Drink
if you,
something that tastes good instead.
yeah, I get. Does that make any sense? Like,
Yes.
what I'm saying is sometimes people just drink something because it has alcohol in it, but it tastes awful.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the GK Chesterton.
Yep.
uh, don't drink because you're miserable, but because you're happy. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? In a safe space with the right boundaries, with the right guardrails, and all that stuff.
Yep.
So I guess those are the three things right now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking of. I will come back in 3 months
Mm.
and maybe just like to you, Aaron, you and Aaron.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, and
but
if you
I
want on the podcast too, I know the listener would be interested in that if you're willing to
sure,
share. But it does feel
absolutely,
like this sort of thing fits so much better in this format, right?
yeah,
Like if we're talking about general health, aging, and like you're saying, it feels very specific to your age, this decision you
mm,
made, that you're
yeah,
wanting to consider these things as you get older. I do think it would work in 3 months for us to check in on
yeah.
podcast.
I mean, that's a pretty good rule of life thing, anyways, is to
Mm-hmm.
like dial in on what works best for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So commit to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then be like, nope, this I need to dial this back, or I need to, not be so stringent, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you? This may be a question for a different midsection, but I think that we are sometimes, I would say, compared to a lot of people, pretty hyper self aware
Okay,
about those things, context, who we are, and what we need. Um,
sure.
I was just thinking about this yesterday as I was even thinking about this episode. Like, we do a lot of considering about our specific age, stage, and what's healthy or what's not for us. And then I
Yeah,
did think, does anybody else do this or are we total weirdos? I don't know.
I think we're committed to knowing thyself, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we have a deep. I don't know if we've been playing off of each other for years now,
That might
but
be.
I want to be better.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I want to be a non-anxious presence. I want
Mm-hmm.
to be able to enjoy a glass of wine with Aaron
Mm-hmm.
and hang out with my buddies after a concert
Mm-hmm.
with in absolute moderation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I will say it sparked a ton of conversation that's been
Oh
super
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure.
I've talked to a lot of friends, a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's sparking a great conversation. And people have written us a lot of great stuff too.
Definitely. Yep.
I just want to be healthy and healthy with it. So
Yeah. All right, dude. Great midsection.
sweet, dude. It was a little, yeah, sweet, dude.
Well, let's close this up. Let's
Okay.
head over to the close and the segment that I'm assuming will become one of our favorite parts of each Two Gomers episode. What's bringing us life this week?
All right, let's clap.
Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3, clap,
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
clap.
Do you think we can do this in 15? This
Absolutely.
thing and the close. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Like I said, this is a new segment, sort of. We had talked about doing songs to run to again.
Yeah. I think we can sometimes.
Well, for sure. I think that this is, I think, like I said, the reincarnation of this, or like it's just a way for us to share every week something that's making us happy, bringing us life. It's I hesitate to say making us happy because we ripped this segment off of NPR Pop Culture Happy Hour.
Well, and I
But so
told
I
you
have a
it's a.
ton of podcasts. But there's a
Oh yeah,
reason for it. When it's their episode when they do this, I love it.
totally. I've gotten so many songs
Yep.
and like show recommendations
Mm-hmm.
from them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So it could be a song to run to. It
Yep.
could be a TV show or a book or a movie. It could just be something that we experienced, something someone said to us, something that we did that's new. You know what I mean? Like we are
Yep.
wanting to at least once an episode, but it happens a lot. Make sure we talk about something that is giving us life. You can even hear that in the state of the podcast that we recorded. You say it several times. What is giving
Hmm.
us life about this podcast and what isn't? And let's make the
Hmm.
decisions based on that.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we just want to end on a high note every
Dude, let's
episode
do
by
it.
giving a
Yes.
suggestion of something or letting people know about something that brought us life. Um, and again, I started making this note and it just got real long.
Yeah.
Just so okay, so here's what I'm going to do for the first uh what's bringing us life this week. Mine is this note that I started. Like it
That's
has
good.
really helped me. So I have now on this note made like a list of songs, a list of TV shows, a list of movies I just watched, a list of books that I've read. Something that just happens during the day that just gave me a little bit of a shot of what's the hormone that makes you happy?
Dopamine,
The
adrenaline,
dopamine shot that isn't
dopamine. Yeah.
bad, you know?
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and this having this note on my phone or on my computer has kind of altered my week.
Dang. That's cool.
And so I know this is vaguer than I usually like to be, but like, specific cell. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna my first what's bringing me life this week is a note on my phone that says what's bringing me life this week.
Hmm.
And I want to encourage I'm not kidding. I want to encourage people to add something. It doesn't have to be called that, but maybe like beautiful things. A note that says that
Hmm.
on your phone,
Yeah.
or things that bring me joy, or things that make me happy. And whenever something like that happens, jot it down. I think you'd be amazed.
Hmm.
I
That
have
that
been.
that's really good. Like almost, it's kind of like a different take on like a grateful list, sort of.
Yeah. Yep. And also kind of like sort of like our Gomer's favorite things
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
isn't once a year. It's
Yep.
a continual I'm not kidding, dude. I've been shocked at how quickly this note has filled up
Wow.
of just small little things that I feel like I need to pay attention to that. I need to ponder that. I need to breathe, notice, ponder, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, and some of them are just a song I'll hear and I'm like, man, I just got a shot of that. It's just because of a chord progression or a lyric that I hear.
Hmm.
Um, or I just saw something on a walk and I jot it down. So that's what's making my life happier, bringing me life this week is this bringing me life note.
That rules. Okay, I'm gonna make one. I
Okay.
actually put it in another note, so I'm gonna make a note. And you and I, we talked about should we share these notes
Right.
or should we keep them separate? And we decided at least for now,
Mm-hmm.
we'll reevaluate
Yep.
in 3 months. Uh,
Everything comes down to that 3-month evaluation.
yeah. uh, if we should share, because we wanted to surprise each other.
We're
But
gonna
I
keep it
love
separate
that.
for now. Yeah.
I love that.
Yep. Anything in particular bringing you life this week?
Yes. Okay. So this week, Erin went to London to visit her sister,
Foggy London town.
foggy London town, and she had the best time. And
Mm-hmm.
that's for another podcast. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I had the girls, not but, let me change that. Had the best time. That's for another podcast. So I was with the girls for the week,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I could tell tons of things that brought us life that week.
Probably fill
Uh,
up a note with just things
for
that,
sure.
yeah.
I mean, just watching Serial Slee with Alex and getting tons of the cereals that we saw on the show, and they felt like celebrities. Like like crunched. We got all the crunched,
Mm-hmm.
and still haven't been able to find Reese's Puffs bunnies.
I
Can't
think it.
find
I think
those.
bad news. I think they're gone now because Easter's
Dang,
over. Yeah.
totally. We missed out on those. But the main thing that brought us life that
Mm-hmm.
week, one of the main things is we went to the Great Wolf Lodge.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Oh sure. There's one in the Dells.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I've never been, but Alex's family
Okay.
has, and I've driven by a Great Wolf Lodge probably
Okay,
hundreds of
yeah.
times in Wisconsin. Yeah.
Oh yeah, on the way to Eau Claire every single time.
Yep.
So I took the girls, we did an overnight there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a wave pool and water slides and stuff like that.
Did you stay in the
And
hotel too?
yeah, we stayed at the hotel.
Wow. Awesome.
Um and it was just like it brought us life, man. We put
Mm-hmm.
it towards the end of the trip. So Aaron
Okay.
left on a Friday and came back on a Friday. We
Yeah.
did the overnight on the Wednesday night.
Okay.
And so it gave us like this is just like, I don't know, a dad hack if you're going to be, you know, if you're going to be flying solo or something like that, or just
Yep.
the whole family, whatever. But this is what worked for us is we're like, okay, we just got to make it to Wednesday. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
house
Yeah.
house got a little messy.
Yep.
And this is not because I don't know how to clean or something like that. It's just, even though you can actually hear Aaron vacuuming right now, if you can hear this. But it's not because of that. It's because like we were eating so much cereal and having so much fun.
Uh-huh.
But anyways,
That'll get messy.
It totally right. So it was something to look forward to,
Mm-hmm.
and we had tons of laughs.
Yeah.
And there's this one water slide where the very top of it is like this tube that you go in, and then the floor drops out from underneath you.
I've seen those on Instagram. Yep.
Okay, that was so scary and so fun.
Oh, I love it.
So Isla wasn't big enough for that one yet.
Yep.
But Lily rode that a bunch of times. I rode that one time. I would do it more times, but like we had to kind of stick together because there's a lot of people there.
Yep.
That really brought us life this week, and it's not Disney World, okay?
No, but it hits the same like part in your brain.
Yeah, and it's only an hour away,
and a lot cheaper, probably.
A lot cheaper, yeah.
Do you have a water slide? Do you have a way you water slide? Like, what are you doing with your body when you water slide?
Dude, so that can hurt your shoulder blades so bad. Right? Like it's like like you do it one time and you're like, what just happened, dude? It is. I don't know if that's you know what, that's not just part of our age, because the girls said the same thing, even though they're like super small.
Oh, I remember it. I remember it from a very young age. That on your shoulder blades. Yep.
What I do is I kind of like pick myself up so there's as little surface area as possible, because like
Yes.
the fleshy part of my back, like the fat back,
Yep.
like Jim Gaffigan says,
Mm-hmm.
I think, is that the first time we said fleshy on the podcast?
I'm sure not.
Yeah, probably not. That hurts super bad. So if you can sort of like arch your back and like stick out your chest a little bit, make
I
yourself sort of streamlined.
I understand completely. So for me, it's whether I'm trying to go fast or not.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to go fast, I try to get as little fabric touching the
Mm,
slide as possible. So
okay.
I'm up on, it sounds like exactly what you're saying. I arch up so it's just the back of my feet and my
Yeah,
shoulders touching
yeah.
the water slide. And if I can get that just right, boom,
Yeah.
I'm down that thing. Now there is a lot of pain involved,
hmm
but I'd say it's worth it. No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. Here's the thing
Uh-huh.
is when you're on a roller coaster, you're like, I can't mess anything up. It's on a roller coaster. I
Yeah.
did have this, like, we did this one water slide that's super fast, super long,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and I was like, what if I fly off of this?
Yep.
Or like, it was just meant for kids. Like I'm kind of like
Mm-hmm.
an adult. Like what if I get to the bottom and it's I'm going so fast that I like
You can't
fly out of
stop.
it? You know what I mean? So I like the first time going down that I totally panicked.
Yeah. I've been
Like
like, whoa, whoa,
just
whoa,
for a
whoa, whoa,
second.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Uh but anyways,
You're
that
right. It hits
yeah.
it's like I said, it hits the same thing as a thrill ride, but you're like, it's just your body.
Mhm.
You're not strapped in anything. And so I always think, am I going to fly off when we hit this corner?
Mhm. Exactly.
I just have fun sometimes. You just need to have, like, you're not accomplishing anything at Great Wolf Lodge.
You're so
You're
right.
just experiencing joy with your
Yep.
girls. Wow.
Totally. Oh yeah. I mean, being in the wave pool
Mm-hmm.
and just watching them laugh their butts off,
Yep.
that's it. That's like that's what you go for.
There was a time in my 20s, true Gomer confession, where I was like, waste of money.
Hmm.
No, we didn't have very much money. So I was always like, no, we can't spend it on that because it's not practical or we're not getting anything done. And then I feel like it was actually something a friend said to me. It was kind of your Disney World conversion
Mm-hmm.
where he was like, what do you mean it's not worth it?
Hmm.
Like you need a break and you need to go do something fun. When is the last time you did anything fun? And I'm a 7 on the Enneagram
Mm-hmm.
and I
Uh-huh.
couldn't think of a time.
Wow.
And there was a shift in me right there where I was like, no, it's worth it. It
That
is
is so
worth the
good.
time. It's worth the
Yeah.
money to get a thrill. And I really missed that during pandemic, I remember. And that's why I
Hmm.
took up longboarding
Yeah, totally.
because I missed that kind of thrill, fun piece of my life. I just was not getting.
Yes. And bro, dude, you are still standing. When you said you were longboarding, I was like, oh no. Just
You
kidding.
and the rest of the world.
I know.
You and
It's
my
just
mom,
like
especially.
if the golf cart was anything, dude.
Hey, hey, hey. All right. We want to hear, listener, if you have things this past week that have brought you life, we want to hear about them. There's a lot of ways to contact us. Instagram is the best place to DM us on Instagram. Also, in our bio, you can find our link tree with a lot of different things. Call us on the Gomer phone. Once again, that number is
608-622-7669. That's 608 NBA Pony.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening right now. This is a great time to do that. We want to thank a couple people, Davis for our music, Jason and Eric for our graphics, Adam, our webmaster, Annie, our social media guru, and especially our Gomertrons, who are our subscribers to our second podcast, The Bonus Disc, on Patreon. Not only is that the home of our monthly movie show, Perfect Movie, where we just covered Big and the Iron Giant, but extra episodes like this month's Survivor episode, last month's Disney World Parks March Madness bracket, next month's start of Steven's tour of Star Trek The Next Generation, led by docent Tony G. Lots of random stuff over on the bonus disc, patreon.com/2gomers.
Wow. It's an embarrassment of riches over there. Hey, by the
For
way,
sure.
Great Wolf Lodge, they didn't like sponsor this. I feel like I was like, here's where you should go.
And this episode of the Two Gomers has been brought to you by not Great Wolf Lodge, but patreon.com/2gomers. That's where you put your money.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay. And now we come to the end of the episode, and I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm going to say great ep. You're going to say super fun, dude. And then if we can do it, you can do it. But then what do I say? Happy running for the past 14 years, I've said.
I know. So, okay, so I feel like it's so classic.
Yeah.
I want to keep it.
Okay. That's interesting. I was thinking of some way more boring stuff, like see you next week.
Yep.
Well, that's dumb.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Happy aging? Ugh. No.
Yeah.
Pack up your knives and go.
Fighting entropy.
Happy fighting entropy. Yep. Okay, let's keep it at happy running.
I mean, you could be like, here's looking at you, kid. Or like here's to another great week, or I don't know, something encouraging.
Age well. I don't have it right now, so I think at the end of this one, I'll just have to say happy running.
All right.
And then we'll just see. Again, listener, I know I've said this probably like 8 times this episode. If you have any ideas, email us or DM us on Insta.
Great, dude.
We check it on weekends.
Yeah, I know. We deleted it. We're barely on Instagram, not really drinking very much, but we're having fun.
We sure are.
Yeah.
We're arching our backs and zooming down those water slides.
Dude, we would be laughing. Yeah. Love it.
Okay, great ep.
Super fun, man. And wait, no, but I can't say if we can do this, you can do this. That doesn't make sense. Not on this.
I think it does. I think if we can do it, you can do it. Still is our thing. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, wait, let me start again.
All right.
Great ep.
Super fun, man. And remember, everybody, if we can do this, if we can embrace our midlife, if we can embrace aging and being friends and doing things that are fun and life-giving and joyful, you can too.
And happy running.
Nice.
Sweet. Awesome, dude. Okay, let's stop this.
Great, let's stop this. 1, 2, 3, stop. Great.
We got in the 1-0. That's good.
Great. Oh yeah, great.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.